Oh dear, oh dear. God damn it. I really should have brought a parachute. Ah, Jesus. So, this guy, Trevor, fell out of his plane and nobody's really talking about it. You're just not seeing anything about it anywhere. But you know, whenever I see someone flying around, like the guy, that missionary guy that flies around New Guinea, I often see him do a flight, so I'll go grab him, jump in the flight sim and do a flight. Or if I see an incident or something, always like to jump in the flight sim and have a look. And so, why not? So we're flying down here, sort of over the area where the plane finally spiraled down. I'll just pause it here. So we're over the area where the plane, we'll go to drone mode. This is sort of the area where the plane finally spiraled down to the ground. Yeah, of course, it was abandoned a little bit higher than this. I probably wouldn't. Well, I wouldn't have been wearing a parachute, probably, because I don't like jumping out of airplanes. That's not my thing. Some people seem to like it, and I probably wouldn't. Getting in a plane is fine, and I'll stay in the plane. Thanks. Anyway, so having a parachute probably wouldn't help me because I'd probably stay in the plane anyway. So yeah, this is sort of the area where where the plane spiraled down. It would have came over these very distinctive rocks. I love this rocks. It actually shows up quite good in Microsoft Flight Simulator. This banded rock pattern here looks really good, and even that that little rocky outcrop there looks really good. Really, that's quite a good representation of the area. Let me drone around over here. The river's just ahead of us there in that little valley. You can't quite see it yet. And the plane sort of spiraled around and went over here somewhere, and then probably impacted somewhere on the other side of that ridge there in that valley. It's got really good video of exactly where it went, which is really cool, because a lot of these times, every time there's a bit of a plane incident or something going on, or someone just flies their plane somewhere, like the guy that flies around in New Guinea, I'll just get in the flight simulator, even though I'm terrible at it. I like to just get in there and fly around, have a look, because it's just cool. And comparing, because I love computers and graphics, obviously, I like to compare how good a job it does simulating the area, which it does pretty good. You really, it's mind-boggling bit of software, really. I quite enjoy it. So yeah, you get an idea of the area and where it spiraled down. And I mean, yeah, it does look like pretty terrible places. Obviously, you would be a little bit concerned. I wouldn't be concerned enough to jump out of an aeroplane, because that just seems like a bad idea to me, because it's something I'm never going to do in my life. I am confident of that. So being in a plane, I can handle that. So so I thought, I'd fly around down here, because it is a really interesting area. Once I started researching, because as I'll have a look on Google Maps later, you can very easily see, well, everyone's in there, every one of their dogs been here anyway by now, and you can easily see the area, and you can quite easily pick out the river exactly where this all occurred. And it's interesting because just down here somewhere, I think it's just down in this area, there's a historic building, a schoolhouse that's I suppose it's been restored or whatever. Anyway, it's there's a schoolhouse down there on the campsite that was built by some faith healers or some little community that settled this area a couple of centuries ago, which is quite interesting. And there's so I have a fly of that. It is interesting because even Microsoft Flight Simulator has actually put a little building in the spot, which is pretty cool. I didn't know if it would show up there because it's sort of amongst the trees, and Flight Sim has put extra trees there, as it has all over this place. It's a lot more vegetation here than probably actually exists, which is a bit of a shame. It sort of obscures some of the areas, but it's done a pretty good job. So I'll fly down here over the school building if I can find it. It's down here towards the river. If I can ever get this trim right. I noticed too that the mouse pointer is useless for pointing things out, so I'll have to find some other method of doing that. Now, where is that? Somewhere down here. Get down towards the river. Oh, it's going to be a bit of a tight corner. Maybe I'll go a bit wider. And if this was a real plane, it's just I've just torn it to pieces with speed by doing this. So this is why I don't fly. Oh god. And like some of the pilots are saying when they come in here flying for real, they say they don't do a lot of commentary while they're flying because it's a little bit dangerous to try and they have to concentrate on flying the plane. I'll just pause that there because now we're going up this river with obviously clearly nowhere you could possibly land here, and I know in reality this riverbed is not as smooth as it's going to look in Flight Simulator, but you know, I know a lot of people would be quite happy to land a bush plane there, especially if you've got a choice of there and the mountain somewhere. And certainly most people, I don't know, most people that fly planes, I suspect, have a, within reason, if their plane's wing hasn't fallen off and they think, well, yeah, I'm not flying this thing because the wing's missing. Generally, I think if the plane's in a more or less airworthy condition, even if the engine's not going, they're going to consider the possibility of possibly trying to save the plane. But, that's just me. But then most people don't go up with parachutes, do they? So if we get out of there again and try and drone, I also don't have a drone because apparently I'm a terrible drone pilot. Somewhere down here there should be, there it is, you can see the representation of the representation of the schoolhouse down here, which is does not look like this at all and does not have a little looks like a little satellite dish on the top or something. You never know, that might even exist, but I doubt it. Generic building put in there. Yeah, obviously in Flight Sim I've landed a plane all over this riverbed and taken off again. That would be, your mileage may vary in reality depending on what sort of rubbish is in there and how big your tyres are on your plane. But I'm sure a lot of pilots could possibly land there. And as far as I can work out, this guy does that sort of thing, doesn't it? He seems to have another plane that is designed for that with the larger tyres, and so I suspect he probably has a little bit of experience with that. So it was an interesting choice to jump out of his airplane. But I feel like I'm on an angle here too. Like yes, I have. My drone is leaning, and I forget how to do that. There is a key for that. There it is. But I suspect this guy has landed in places like this. So interesting choice to jump out of an aircraft. But the things we do for content, right? Like flying around in Flight Simulator, talking about it for content, because that's what we do. But I do this anyway. This is not something I would normally put into content. Maybe I will, but I do it anyway, just because it's a lol. So, yep, there's a nice big valley there. Obviously, you're not going to try and land anywhere else but down in this valley. And I know some people glided out to the farmlands, and that may have been doable. But of course, if you really unexpectedly get an engine failure, you're going to try to go through procedures to try and restart and do all the things you're going to do. And you're not going to suddenly just, unless I guess you have a catastrophic failure that's really obvious, you're not going to immediately turn and head for the most for the farmlands at the maximum distance, really, because that's very risky if you fall short and there's bad stuff on the other side of it. But then, like I say, I'm not a pilot, so. But even as far as running around as a simulator, you think, oh, I'm going to fly up and down here, spot out a good spot, and then maybe try to land on a bit of rubbish there, and hope I don't nosedive into the ground. So we'll get back in our plane. Oh, here we are. And try and get a bit of altitude, and the plane would have, no good me doing some pointing. I'll have to see if I can work out something to point it in the in post, but yeah, the plane would have flown somewhere along that to the left of this river, up along that area there, and then it's curving, and obviously it's curved into that valley up ahead. And he gave us nice video of exactly what happened, so that's good. Hopefully I've got the sound off again still, so yeah, I think I do. So give us some throttle. I got no throttle for some reason. I bumped it in my hand. I'll flatten it out. If it blows an engine, I can afford it because it's cheap in this machine. So it would have been, the plane would have been coming in from the left there a bit. I might just do a bit of a cheat here. Don't get this opportunity in reality, of course. But yeah, the plane came, actually it was trimmed really well, I thought. It just came down fairly smooth, really. So that was good, really. It's a bit of a shame. I guess I know the plane was old and it was pretty well worn. I think this is the valley. Unfortunately, yeah, this is the valley. Unfortunately, it doesn't look quite right here. It's a bit too much vegetation the program has put in, but it sort of came in sort of this way, not exactly like this. The beauty about it is anyone investigating it, like I say, is going to have no trouble finding exactly where it all went. It's fairly clear. We'll have a look. I'll have a look at the. Yeah, I'll have a look at. Yeah, this is very hard. I understand when the pilot's saying, "Oh, I find it too hard to talk and fly at the same time." I have enough trouble even sitting in my nice, comfy room. So let me just pause that. Which stop. Okay. Let me go back inside first. Try and drone around here. Where's my droney bits? Where's the plane? I have no idea where the plane is. Yeah, so there's a bit too much vegetation here, unfortunately. So you can't really see exactly where everything is, but you can see ahead of us the clear area right up the top there on the top of the mountain, which is a bit brighter. But it has these beautiful big ridges here. So you can pace out exactly where the count the ridges back and see exactly where the plane came through. And when you look at the video, it's sort of, unfortunately, this is all covered with vegetation there, but right towards the center of the screen, that's that little area of little gullies and things, and the plane came to rest right in that area somewhere. And of course, which was another thing was interesting. I guess he really wanted to get to his plane to get his water and footage from the plane. So he's landed, he's parachuted in right up here somewhere, and the plane would have been down in here. Whereas normally I think I would have attempted to maybe parachute down into the river, which has a nice easy walk out to safety and even the possibility of water, perhaps, depending on the season, I don't know. But yeah, so it would have come to rest right in here. Try not to move around too much so I don't get too seasick. But yeah, unfortunately, Microsoft, the program has, the algorithm has been a bit keen on the vegetation, and the vegetation here does look a little bit bigger than what I was expecting. I don't know where my plane is. I seem to have lost my plane. It's Oh, there it is. Plane is up there somewhere. There it is. I do love the way you can launch a drone out of your plane while flying and leave it hovering there like that. That's handy. Trev would have really loved that. So yeah, it's a lovely area. For some reason I'm leaning all the time. My drone, I have a leany drone. I'm pressing wrong keys perhaps. Ooh, that's making me seasick. And everybody. So there you go. That's cool. Off to Google Maps we go and head off to America, California to be slightly more exact. And he took off here from, I'm going to call it Lompoc. Whatever. I'm not from the area. I do have a brother in somewhere in the general area, but maybe I'll ask him what it's pronounced as. Anyway, so took off here from this area, heading north somewhere, but decided to head into this remote looking area down, where are we? Into this sort of remote area here, which I might like the scenery, and I mean I would fly over there because that looks cool. So I flew into this area. Quite interesting really, because that'll be my dog. Quite interesting actually, because the plane, we get this very distinctive rock formation which showed up quite well in the in all these stripy bits. All of this showed up really good in flight sim. Very impressive. This mountain here with its very sort of exposed surface there did not show up so well. Likewise, this little creek and everything did not show up so well. But what we saw of the plane coming down, coming over here and on the right side of the river, not the left. I repeatedly said left when I meant right. You know, it could be something to do with the screens getting flipped on me, but I'll use that as an excuse, even though I was clearly looking at the right. Let me get my dog. Ricky does love to come. Hello, Ricky. Say hello, Ricky. There he goes. He likes to come in and say hello. Yes. So what we saw of the plane was sort of coming down this area, doing a little loop into this creek, and assuming my cursor's in the right place this time, it wasn't with flight sim. So yeah, plane sort of did this nice little loop, trimmed very well up this valley and splat into there. Zoom in a bit more. So yeah, that's our Rocky Mountain. Down here is there is the schoolhouse, which apparently is a camp. Manzana, whatever. Cute little house there. It doesn't look quite like that in flight sim, but you know, it's not a bad representation. It's actually a lot clearer there when you look at the photos. It's quite not a bad little area really. Even here you can see there's a lot of rubbish on the ground. It wouldn't be necessarily a very nice landing, but it's yeah, it's probably survivable. And it is with a bush plane, might not be too bad. Taking off again might be less than ideal. Plane damage might be less than ideal. But there's our little schoolhouse there. You can see it quite clearly. That's quite cool, really. So yeah, so we got our little plane comes in. We'll have a look at the video in a minute. But this is my suspicion from looking at the video. And I think somewhere in this little area we had a little come down, and I think that's all fairly clear. I think everyone's fairly confident because all this river is very distinctive in the video. We'll have a look at the video in a sec, but yeah, this is the area, and good place. You want to come and fly. I think we can probably get some coordinates of some of this. My face out of the way, and we got some coordinates of that area. Yeah, so that's handy. So have a look at the video. I probably won't show any of the video, but we'll have a look at some stills from it anyway. This is a really interesting shot. Aside from telling us exactly where we are with great detail, it's interesting because we're pretty much over the river, or down on this corner where I just put that little screen come up, where that face comes up. Where'd it go? Yeah, his little face came up. That's pretty much where the schoolhouse is. And so we know the plane sort of did a loop over that round here. I would love to see the entire footage of this plane's descent, because this is a cool little circle it must have done. If he gets out in this, roughly in this area, we know the plane ends up in that little delta thing there somewhere. Yeah, probably in that little, I think it's that little delta there, yeah, straight under the wheel there. So it's quite interesting that the plane must have done like a little spiral, gone around that way, came around, completely turned around, turned again, and then went up that valley and hit there. So I would love to see that entire little flight. So come on, Trev, put out the rest of the footage. You're going to get more clicks. I mean, you're getting lots of clicks now. Imagine the clicks you're going to get from the full footage, especially if you get that internal camera with the instruments on it. We all want to see it. You know, we'll love it, and we will click it. No problems there. There'll be people clicking it. I love the little red tapping covers there. That's cool. That looks really good. It's just such a shame. Is that sad or what? I know they're not cheap to rebuild, and maybe it was end of life. I don't know, but that's cute, and it's just sad. I'm an engine nut too. I love small, especially small engines, and just I'm not necessarily into like Red Hat or anything like that, but I do love just ordinary little engines and aircraft engines, and I just think they're cool. And I hate. I'm not one of those people who could just you know there's people that just rev engines out till they explode. That's just too sad for me. I just can't handle it. It's like killing puppies. You know, I can't do it. So yeah, it's interesting that we've got that essentially the shot here of I'm going to get out here, and that's where we land. It's almost like you couldn't. Yeah, I mean he ends up parachuting and landing somewhere right there, and so that's. I don't know if that's planned. I don't know if you possibly could plan that. It's just I don't know what he thought was going to happen. Wouldn't you love to know? Because it's just amazing the plane landed right there and spiraled down right there. It's and didn't end up like way over down the valley somewhere. Amazing. So yeah, that's definitely where he is getting out. He is getting out there, getting sucked out. I saw a great video. That is brilliant. Getting sucked out of the plane, the poor guy. Getting sucked out. Again, we've got the impact sites down there. So that's just really well done. Another great shot. So we've got where he gets sucked out. Got his little, got his fire extinguishers ready. So he must have thought it was going to end up somewhere nearby, because he's got his fire extinguishers ready. So I think people really need to appreciate the amount of planning that had to have gone into this. I mean, not that it would be planned, of course. It's obviously an accident. But if it was planned, if this was planned, just speculating, there is a lot of attention to detail, because imagine, like, just say if it crashed and if it was planned, got your fire extinguishers ready to, because obviously he does not want to, destroy a national park. So that if it was planned, that is really thinking well and truly ahead. It's amazing. A lot of people, of course, have shown this shot. This is a good one because it shows the river. This is good. Shows the where we're going to impact right there. The plane. Last we saw, the plane was heading this way somewhere, and yet we know the plane comes in over here, over this river, up this valley, and so and the schoolhouse is down this way somewhere, down here, under his head there, under his neck somewhere there. So or maybe it's just right here, even not far down there anyway, and that's the river. And this is a brilliant shot, really. I love this shot. It was great that he got this one in. It's like, here where we go. This is where we're going. I'm gonna land. I'm gonna try and parachute right in here, and the plane's gonna land there. It's almost like, if I was doing this, I would have to radio control the plane just to make sure it landed where I wanted to. So that's I don't even know how you would do that. It's just, that is the luckiest bit of luck. I cannot imagine how lucky you could possibly be there. Another shot of the river, and the crash site there, and the river there. So we're still going down. I don't know how far. I mean, he's falling now. He's not going anywhere. But when he opens his chute, I don't know how much range he's got. I'm sure other people would have a clue, but I would think that the plane would normally be able to go, like, glide further than the chute. So like I say, it's really lucky that plane circled like that. Either some really good trimming and planning or some super amazing luck there. Not sure where this is. He's edited most of this out, so we've come down a long way here. We look like we're in that stripy area on the other side, like as if when he jumped out it was way over there, and we've come back around here. Bit hard to tell, which is a bit of a shame. I'd love to know where this is exactly, but I suspect it's over. Oh, let's have a look. Back over in this area somewhere, maybe? I don't know, maybe here? I don't know. It's hard to say, isn't it? Not sure where that shot is. Knowing that the plane's sort of, it's very hard to tell. But if it was in a tight spiral, maybe it's some of this we can see there. I don't know. Now this here, that is looking like that valley there. That looks like that main valley, doesn't it, almost? I guess this plane is in fairly tight circle. It must, yeah, I think that's, I'm thinking that's where it crashes right there. So I guess it's spiraling pretty tight, turning pretty tight. Interesting. That has to be that main valley, so it goes down pretty tight there. Very interesting. Of course, in this shot, you can definitely, it's a bit hard to tell how far it is that way, but this one here, you can definitely tell. The two videos, unfortunately, aren't synced real well, but this is, he's edited them in funny little ways, but clearly going past that very distinctive rocky outcrop there, which is really pretty. It's this really beautiful area, isn't it? Like, oh, I love this area. I can understand why people walk in this area. Pity it's so dry, but it's not as dry as some of the stuff here, but that is really beautiful area. Now this area here looks like it's going up towards the valley here. I'm guessing that's the area it goes down. It's a little bit hard to tell from this angle. It is spiraling in pretty quick, and I guess this is a very wide angle lens, which doesn't help. So it does seem to be going down in a fairly tight turn, even though it doesn't seem to be over very far, but it's going down pretty quickly and tight. Don't you wish we had a camera inside? That would be great. A camera inside, you know, like as if, what, you know, just imagine if you would have put a camera up there behind, looking down at the instruments. That would have been really handy. So here, yeah, here's a shot there where we're going right over those, right over these rocks there. So that could have been the same time as, I guess that's the same bit where we saw quite some time ago. We saw that on the other camera. And of course, here we go. Here, this is one of the real money shots here, where it's turning in here, going straight up this valley. We know exactly where we are here. This is beautiful. We can see here, and you can get a really good idea exactly where it is, because these are very distinctive marks. You can count them down here. You can match them all up with this valley here. So yeah, when we're over in Google Maps, you know, we can see looking up this valley. We've got this nice big deep. We've got that clear area on the hill. We've got this nice big deep valley here. We can count back all these. We've got this little fanned out little bunch of gullies here. Watching the plane come straight up here. So we're going straight up there, and we're going to end up crashing somewhere in this area. So makes it easy to find the plane. Well, it would be, you know, let's say if there was a plane there, it would be very easy to find. I suppose even would be very easy to go find the area if you were extremely keen and a bit of a masochist. Maybe you could walk around there and maybe find maybe the missing camera from inside the cab. That would be quite handy. Number one shot of the river, so we know exactly where we are. Our river here, with our little curves and twists and whatnot, going down towards the school. So we know where we are now. That was that was a good shot there from Trev. And here we are in a shot getting into our final moments of this very sad event, which is sad. It's pretty tragic. I mean, I'm sure there are people out here that really love these old planes. So this has got to be very sad for some people to watch this. So I'm certainly not going to be showing where this goes finally, because that's like I say, it's like watching something happen to puppies. It's not something we're going to put on here. But it is interesting that we can see a good idea of exactly where things are happening. And we are looking there. And of course, it looks like the parachuting happened somewhere in this area too. So very well done. So as I say, fairly wide angle obviously, and it's turning quite quickly straight into this area, which as you can see, it does have some trees, but they're not like the 40-foot high things that we see in Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's just some shrubbery and some small bushes and stuff, and not these massive bushy looking green trees everywhere. So you can actually see all the gullies quite clearly. So that's probably all we need to see right now. And we're just gonna pretend that, oh, the plane woke up and decided, oh no, this got to abort, and it took off and flew just clearing the ridge and went home and lived happily ever after somewhere. Now, it's a little bit harder to see exactly where we're coming down here. I think that's the area where the plane was headed towards, and Trev's coming down here sort of a little bit. I'm going to turn my head here. I don't know. It's a little bit hard to tell exactly where he's coming down, but it's somewhere nearby there. Looks like there's nice open areas there, and looks like some cattle tracks possibly, or some animal tracks, or I don't know. So yeah, he's not too far away from where the plane might have landed, or if it hadn't like aborted and flew away to safety. So a little bit of shrubbery and bushery on the way. I hope he doesn't hit one of those bushes, and he could land in this nice open area, or because then if he lands in an open area, he's going to have to land there and pack up his chute and then go jump in a bush, for drama and whatnot. But he'll probably end up landing in a bush or something. Oh no, it looks like some bushes there at the last minute. Although, I don't know, not too bad, but I hope he doesn't cut his elbow or something. So that was a bit of a fun trip and a good opportunity to get in a plane, and I enjoy these things actually, because I'll often watch a video like this, or it can be a tragic accident sometimes, unfortunately, but I'll often see something like that and it'll prompt me to go get in the flight sim or get on Google Maps and learn a little bit about an area that I didn't know anything about. Like this, they talk about a Mormon campground, but as far as I understand, these were not Mormons. But it was interesting. You get a bit of opportunity to research some things. That looks like a very open green area there. Is that just me, or now I have to investigate that? Where is that? What is that? Is that water? Is that a field? Is that a swamp? Is it a dried up lake? I am curious now to know what that is. I'm going by the ring around here. It's possibly something that normally holds water, perhaps. Although this is a river here. I don't know what that is, that area, but it's another thing that has got me interested. Because it's not far from the school camp there, so that is definitely somewhere you could get to. These things are always good to learn about an area. It gives you an opportunity to get on Google Maps and do some research about an area and find out a bit about it. Hopefully get some photos, and there is some around this schoolhouse. Gives you an idea of the terrain so you can see what it's really like, and it doesn't look too bad. It's a bit of shrubbery and that. I'm pretty sure you could land there. So that was fun, and hopefully Trevor's little cut has healed up nicely and he's feeling good and didn't get too burned or dehydrated. So it will be interesting to see what comes of that, and good luck, Trev. Keep up the good work. Subscribing and liking means more fluff.